Here we go again. All right, so you can't convince me that this wasn't planned by somebody who is a higher up. It's just too coincidental. This is Dylan Roof all over again. And they said this was racially motivated, but this person took out people of different ethnic backgrounds. So what race was he aiming at? It just seems like a schedule. It seems like a trend to me. It seems like somebody told this guy, hey, go and do this. You know, I mean, what are they going to say his defense was? He was an incel. You know, I mean, who are they going to blame this on? I mean, when they got this guy after 10 people are deceased, he didn't get beat to the ground. They didn't tell him down on the ground, face down, on your stomach. Get down now or I'll shoot. They didn't do none of the aggressive stuff they do to, black people. They I mean, the MARTA police just arrested a woman because she didn't have 50 cents to get on a bus. And they tased her, pinned her to the ground, tased her, took her to jail. A black man just got shot in the back of the head because he supposedly had a taser in his hand. But the taser could not be seen. And even if he did have a taser, last time I checked, taser is not a deadly weapon. Not unless you're tasing somebody with multiple tasers and holding them down, which a black man did die like that. Multiple police tased him and held him down in jail. He was already in jail. But that guy was shot in the back of the head. If you want to disarm somebody with something and you're on top of them, struggling with them, you don't shoot them in the back of the head. That police officer shot that man in the back of the head. Another black man, was shot in the back of the head while he was running. There were warrants out for his arrest, but, there's such a thing called due process. That guy never saw due process. The police were judge, jury, and executioner. In another case recently, the same thing happened. And then we have the no-knock warrants that have happened, and they went to the wrong houses, and the two men that were in the houses opened fired, and the police came in and killed them, and then they said, oh, it was the wrong guy. But, just like Dylan Roof, when he got arrested, he want no scratches, no dents, no nothing on him, no beat down, no cursing him out, no punching him in the face. He was taken as calmly as anything and taken straight to Burger King. They went and got him something to eat. Just like this guy. They treat this guy with kid gloves. These young white guys who are doing this are told to do this. This is all systematic. The government is telling them to do this. That's what's going on. That's why you have these mass shootings like this. There's some form of government that is telling them to go out and cause mass hysteria, go out and shoot mass people, go out and commit these murders. And then when they get a hold of these guys, the police roll up on these guys like these guys are grandmothers. I mean, it's just too obvious at this point. It's just, It's just common sense to look at this and go, that look, listen, the police, okay, the police force was made up for because there were uh, pretty much roaming, marauding men who that were needed to go and chase down slaves. They were overseers, and and that happened was they were deputized by the government. Uh, the police are supposed to identify themselves when they approach you. They don't do this. They are supposed to identify themselves in three different ways. They do not do this. They just go police, and then whatever starts happening, and you're supposed to listen to them. Also, when the police arrest you, you're under arrest. Now they're telling people get down on the ground. Well, when you tell a 40 or 50-year-old person to get down on the ground, they have a chance, they had a propensity to die. So you have men who are dying when the police say get down on the ground. They get on top of them and then they compress their chest and then they can't breathe. And then you have Eric Garner over and over. And we've seen this over and over. So the police that are roaming around now, I mean, listen, the police are actually supposed to be voted in. When is the last time you voted for a cop? You don't vote for the police. You do not know the police that are policing your area. I mean, when you look at how the police are treating just the citizens, you're going, there's no way that holistically you're here to serve and protect us. How many of you feel safe around the police? Like when there's a cop present, you feel safe. I don't feel safe when the police are there. I don't. I do not feel safe when a cop is around. I just don't. Well, listen, one mass shooting is out of hand. But now it's not even out of hand, it's come into perspective. It's like, okay, this is ridiculous. Well, there's a point where ridiculous reaches its apex and it crosses over the line of, okay, now we have to just stop looking at it and passing it off as ridiculous and out of hand. Now we got to start looking at the numbers and start analyzing mass shootings instead of just thinking, it wasn't me, so let's just wait till the next one happens until it reaches close to home. Now it's statistics. Now it's like, when did the last one happen? When did the last mass shooting happen? How old was the person? Who were the people they killed? How is this individual handled when the police got a hold of them? And when you start really doing the science behind it and start looking at it in a statistical fashion, you going, okay, wait a minute, there's something here. There's no way that this is random. You're not. You no longer think, okay, this is ridiculous. Ridiculous is like it's almost passing it off. Now you're going, okay, well, 2 + 2 = 4. And you're doing simple math, and then you start predicting when the next one's going to happen and who's going to do it. And you know what? You're going to start being right. You're going to start being right. When you start looking at it in a scientific way, in a mathematical way, you're going to go, the last time this happened was so many years ago. This the person who did it. This was their excuse. They were far right or far left or whatever, racially motivated, so on and so forth. This was the age of this person. The police did not kill this person. They did not punish this person. And what does that do? That makes anybody else who has a mad on for some type of group in society to go, you know what? They didn't do anything to this person. Let me go and do the same thing. Let me tell you something. The last time a black person did there was a mass shooting recently. The guy on the subway in New York. I think, did he shoot somebody? I think he just held off some shots. I don't know. But he didn't kill anybody. How did they arrest that guy? But the fact is that this boy traveled hours to commit the crime in a black community and had racial marks in his weapons and killing innocent people is sad. He was taught this. He was listen. Okay, so okay, so in every pocket of society, I don't care what any of you guys say about this, there is someone in your society who doesn't like a group of people. Every one of you who are in the black society knows someone who doesn't like white people. They don't like them. They don't want to be around them. They don't want nothing to do with them. They don't want to deal with them. And everybody in the Chinese community, the Hispanic community, that you can name any community, they don't like some subset of people, some subculture of people. Now, there's one thing not to like a group of people. There's another thing to think I can do this with minimal damage to myself and or my people with very little backlash. It's almost permission. It's almost a lane. It's almost expected. See, I can't go out, commit a mass shooting, and then you take me in without a scratch. Okay, let me say this. The likelihood of that happening is a lot less than it is for a white person. The likelihood. It happens, but it's just not likely. And then the likelihood of a black person traveling to a white area to commit mass shootings is not very likely at all. When is the last time a black person traveled to a white area and just and then did in, you know, 10 white people? You can't name me once where a black person traveled and said, I'm going to go and do a Dylan Roof. I'm going to seek out nothing but white people and I'm going to shoot them and that's just going to be that. And live. See, the less you do to these people, the less example you set when these people go out and do this, the more you allow them to go and do it again. They know that they're going to go to jail forever. Do you think they're afraid of jail? Why didn't that kid open fire on the police? Why? Because he wanted due process and he knew he would get it. That's why. He wanted due process and he knew he would get it. Remember that cop that went rogue? That black cop? He went rogue and he went and he went after the cops that did him wrong. And they found him in the mountains of Denver or something like that. When they found him, they blew him up. They tore that kid up. It wasn't a kid, it was a grown man. They tore him up. Why didn't they give him due process? Why didn't they tell him to come out, put your hands down, due process? You know what also the cops did? They identified his truck or what they thought was his truck, and there were 2 black women in it, and they went and shot those black women. Luckily, those women lived. The cops there was no due process. They just ran up and they saw that truck and they started shooting and went, oh, we have the wrong people. See, this trend has numbers to it. Any trend does. There's a numbers game to what's happening here. And when some mathematician starts crunching these numbers, they're going to look at it and they're going to go, this is not a coincidence. Numbers don't fall together by coincidence. There is a pattern here. And then there's a sense of arrogance, and that arrogance is allowing this to happen. It's almost like it's scheduled mass hysteria. And I've said this before. I know my videos are long, but I've said this before, but our government are agents of chaos. Our governments are agents of chaos. And if you can't see what's going on right now in the Ukraine and think that, oh, our government is not agents of chaos. Our governments are agents of chaos. They want chaos. Crazy man, but I heard too he was influenced by manifesto written by uh I don't know who that is. Migration from the Middle East of Africa and making white people extinct. Okay, who are you talking about? Who read this manifesto? Listen, white people are in trouble because the more you go and, gun down random people all over the planet, the more those people hate you. And this is why people hate Americans. And here's what I'm going to tell you something. Listen, I went to France. And when I was in France, I went into a McDonald's. Me and another black woman, I was with her. And the guy in the McDonald's, oh, the gunman, okay. And the guy in the McDonald's, and that's another thing about those manifestos. But I'm going to say this before I speak on this. The guy in the McDonald's, he was behind the register. He spoke like so many different languages, and he looked Hispanic. And, he waited till you said hello in whatever language, and then he spoke to you in that language. I mean, it was beautiful. So when we spoke to him in English, he asked us, what we wanted, and we were next in line. Well, the guy next to us, was upset with that, and he was black, but he was from France. And he started arguing with the guy behind the counter, because he heard us speak English. He knew we were American. He was basically saying, why are you helping them and you didn't help me? And we were clearly next in line. We didn't get around this dude. We didn't rip this dude off in any kind of way. But it's the simple fact that he thought he was treating black. Now, we're both black. All three of us are black. Me, the woman I'm with, we're all the same shade too. It's not like we're light skinned or he's like, no. He's like, why are you treating those black Americans better than you're treating me? I'm from this country. Why are you treating them better than me? And the guy spoke to him back in French, which we did not understand, but we clearly knew the emphasis. He basically told him, look, they were next in line. I'm treating them better than you. They were next in line. People hate Americans. But they blame the things that white Americans are doing on all Americans. Oh, you're an American? Well, we know how this is going to go. Well, we don't have the same privilege whenever we leave the country. It's just not how this goes. White people have a privilege all over the world because they're dominant all over the world, but their numbers are falling. They're in trouble. They are going to be the minority very, very soon. And the chickens will come home to roost. And there's only so much sympathy you're going to get. If you look at what's happening in South Africa, the Africans are trying to take back their land. As a matter of fact, all over Africa, they're trying to take back, especially in South Africa. They're trying to take back their land so much where they're going and they're brutalizing white people. They're catching them by themselves and they're drilling their knees. Okay? They're doing heinous crimes to these people because they won't get off their land and give it back to them. The white people are like, if you want the land, pay us for it. It's like you stole it. We're not going to pay you for something that you took. Now, as far as these manifestos is concerned, they're so let's look at this. The manifesto written became this immigration from the Middle East and Africa, making white people extinct. Okay, I talked about this before, but Benjamin Franklin even knew that the numbers of white people were going to dwindle. One, because of constant war. Two, because of the birth rate. Even back when he was alive, when you start looking at the birth rate of the African people and of the African American people, it far exceeds the birth rate of white people. Far exceeds them. Black people usually have families that are way larger. The mothers usually have a lot more babies than the white mothers do. You know, when you look at this and you start looking at the statistics, you're going, it's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So what did they do? Planned Parenthood. They told the mothers, you have to have an abortion. They kicked the fathers out the house so they could stop dropping seeds into these mothers. And they said, the government said, listen, you have a choice. Either you're going to be homeless on the street, or, you pick the way of the government, or, you stay with your husband. And the women were just like, okay, I'm going to kick the husband out of the house. Listen, I worked as a janitor for a couple days in a projects right not far from me, where the whole projects is nothing but baby mothers. The whole project. And no man can go in there and spend the night. When I say it's right up the street, I mean it's 5-minute drive from me. And I didn't even know it was like that until somebody told me. Because I came out there and saw hair weave and all kind of stuff, and the girls were fighting each other. No man can spend the night in these projects. The whole projects is filled with women and children. No man can stay there. This is all designed by the government. So these manifestos that were written back in the day, uh, uh, these manifestos have been written about white people. This is not a new thing. There have been Marcus Garveys in the world that were okay. Let's get on the Black Star Line, get all the black people and take them from America and take them back to Africa. This has been going on for many and many and many and many a years. So this idea, but the thing about this idea is you're going back to Africa, but Africa is not a free continent. Africa is constantly being pillaged by white people, and they're never going to relinquish the power that Africa have because they need the resources. They're never going to give that up. There will be a nuclear war before the Africans completely take back over Africa. And at one time, the whole continent of Africa was going to be united under one man who was a Nigerian, and they offed him real quick. And anybody that they don't like, they get rid of in Africa. Africa is still under the thumb of the European. So these people who are, wherever they're coming from, the Middle East, Africa, these people are angry because they've been under the ruling thumb. Yeah, they've been under the ruling thumb of the Europeans for years, and they're like, there's no way we're going to get from under them. So we have to start playing their game. If you even look, like I said, go to South Africa now. Now there's a new disease coming out of South Africa that has to do with with CV. There's a new strand coming out of Africa. And what happened when CV first started? What happened? They went over to South Africa. They set up all these tents, and they started testing these people to put this, inoculation in these people. And the South Africans realized you did the same thing when it came to the AIDS virus. You lied to us. The Dutch lied to the African people and told them the same lie. It's a trend. They told them it's an inoculation, just like they told them now. And what happened now? The same thing happened with the AIDS virus, where 35 million people died. And they said it came out of Africa, which was a damn lie. It was created by the Dutch. And it was created to slow down the birth rate of black people. And they wanted to do tests on black people, so they took a poor village in South Africa. They gave them whatever, and then that turned into something else, and then boom. Then they told them to lie. It came out of Africa. And what happened when CV came out? The news was spreading that in New York, it was coming from the projects. It was coming from black people. So what did the people in China do? They kicked all the black people out of their homes, which they were paying for. They kicked them out of all their apartments, landlords, and said, "You got to leave right now." And they were like, "We pay you to stay here." And they said, "All of you Africans have to leave," because they believed that the black people were the one who was spreading CV. And it was like, wait a minute. This came out of Wuhan. You guys are the ones who created this, and now you're blaming it on us. When we look over there at what's going on in Kiev and Mariupol and all that coming out of Ukraine, when that first kicked off, what did they do? They told the black people, they told the black men that you have to fight for the Ukraine. They told the Africans, you have to fight for the Ukrainians, and they said, we're not going to fight for you. They're like, we're not fighting for you. And you know why? Because they wouldn't let them out of the country into Poland. And they took the black women and children that were on the train and kicked them off the train and stranded them. They stranded them. Listen, there has been, there is the devilry that these white supremacist people have been doing is it's gone all the way back to the Bible days. So just imagine being in Egypt. And then here comes an army from the north. Here comes the Roman army, talking about we want this, we want that, and slaughtering millions of people to get it. When you look in the Bible days, these people originated from the Caucasus Mountains. And you look at where the Caucasus Mountains are. And when you look at the Caucasus, look at the story of why they were created. They were created because there were giants in the land. There were very large people who were living in those mountains. And those giants were unruly. They did any and everything. And in the Bible, look in Deuteronomy, and in the Bible, when the people came out of Egypt, when the Africans, the Jews came out of Egypt, before God let them cross into the promised land, they had to walk around the mountain. And when they was walking around those mountains, they saw white people in the mountains. And God said, do not go up there and bother those people. He said, because I gave them that land. And God said, I gave them that land because they're the ones who killed the giants. God made them a warring people. This is what they know. It's in their genes to war. It's in their genes. When you look at the Jewish people are Russian Abkhazians. And when you read about the Abkhazians, they were a warring race. Who controls America right now? Why are we constantly at war? Why did our government send $300 million worth of warring equipment over there to the Ukraine instead of evacuating all those people? Those people that died in Mariupol, they died because of our government. They died because of our government. Our government sent all that stuff over there so those Ukrainians can keep fighting instead of evacuating. And then they keep pushing this narrative and keep saying, oh, we're proud of the Ghost of Kiev, or we're proud of this, we're proud of that. But there are innocent people dying in the wake. This is all controlled by the same warring Jewish people. All of it. They control the banks. This is why Kennedy died. Yeah. They control the banks. They control your music. That's why you don't hear positive music coming out of black people. They control the politicians. This is why there is only a couple hundred people who control who's actually the president. It's probably why Donald Trump can win the presidency, but he probably won't because he doesn't play by their rules. You got to understand, all these shootings are planned. This is all in the plan. It's all all these peoples are agents of chaos. All your politicians that you so-called vote for, all agents of chaos. All of it. It's all a plan. It wouldn't surprise me if Dylan Roof had another name and was living in the mountains of, hell, probably walking around right in your city. Bobby gave him a mustache, gave him some different hair, put some pounds on him, and now they call him, Bobby Sunday or something. It would not surprise me. You can't tell me all the black men, women, and children who've been gunned down within the last couple of years who are innocent. I mean, the one mother who was watching her grandchild, cop rolled up to her house and said he heard a noise and he shot her, killed her dead. And then they had an excuse for it. The black army soldier who was just minding his business, cop ran in, was looking for somebody, saw a black man and killed this young black man. Just shot and killed him, and then said, no, we're not going to prosecute the police. You just killed an innocent man who had nothing to do with anything. The home invasions that the police have recently committed this year, went in and shot 2 innocent men. They had nothing to do with what you were talking about. They don't even know what was going on. But because they live in a poor area and they defended themselves, you shot and killed them. Listen, all these people are agents of chaos, and we're just all caught up in the middle of it. You're going to see another mass shooting by somebody who's going to look like, whatever this kid's name is. It's going to be the same MO. And let's just throw out a number. When did Dylan Roof kill those people in the church? And then they took him to Burger King. When did that happen? What year was that? Was that like 4 or 5 years ago? I don't know what year it was. One of you guys know. And then look at what happened. He killed those people inside of a church. And then and then after that, more white people were upset. They were upset at the black people because he got arrested. And what did they do? They went and burned down more black churches. They burned down black churches because of Dylan Roof went and killed all those people, and then he got arrested. Agents of chaos. Our government is allowing this. Our government's allowing this. And if any of you believe any politician, then you're out of your mind. I don't believe no politician at all. And I used to work in politics. Like literally, I used to be a legislative aide for the Ohio House of Representatives back in '99. And I know the power of the legislator because I used to make phone calls, and when people heard who I worked for, they jumped. I would tell the police who, were coming around our hood and doing stuff, I'd be like, listen, this is who I work for. And they would change their mind. I'm just telling you guys that look, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. These are all agents of chaos, and it's never going to stop. And all you can do is protect yourself. And another thing I wanted to hit on before I, get off of the live, there was a black woman who was, she was an eyewitness, and she was explaining what she was going through while she was in the store. And she said her daughter was in the store too, and her daughter's got a granddaughter. And she said her daughter was up on aisle 6, I guess getting ready to check out. And she was, she didn't know her daughter was up there, and she was obviously in the aisles. And she said the gunman came in, and they didn't even know what was going on until the security guard, he's an armed security guard too, until the security guard reached for his weapon. So when you look at the video that they show you, that this guy actually shows you, when he pulls up, the first person he shoots is a white woman, as a woman in a blue dress. That's the first person he caps. He's like, here we go. And he gets out of his car. He shoots the white woman. The people in the store don't even know what's going on now. He shot her with a high-powered rifle. It looked like some type of modified M15 AR or AR-15, something like that. Excuse me, AR-15 M16 look-alike. It's not an M16. M16s are only used by the military. And good luck getting your hands on one. They're about $20,000. But an AR-15, different modifications, you can get a decent one for a couple grand. So when he shot this woman, he then proceeded to go in and look for black people to shoot. And they were criticizing this mother because her daughter was right there and the gunman walked right past her daughter. Mind you, this is a black woman, black grown woman. And if the gunman would have seen or heard her, he would have shot that black woman. And they're mad at the black mother because she turned around and ran up out of there. What was she going to do? What was she going to do? She turned around, ran to the back, and she was like, my daughter is up front. She knew she couldn't do anything. She did what everybody else did and ran out the back. What was she going to do? She did what she was supposed to do. She was like, I got to save my life because I got to be here just in case they get her. And that's the truth. She was like, I'm going to have to raise the granddaughter if they get her. If she would have ran up there and that kid would have saw that black woman, he would have killed her. What was she supposed to do? So when I start looking at the dynamics of what's going on here, and then the way this kid was arrested, listen, this is all in the plan. This is all your government. This is all the people who control the government, the people who want war, the people who love bloodshed, the devils that are promoting all this same-sex garbage, these devils who are after your children and telling your children it's okay to be a different sex than what you are. This is all evil. This is all devilry. These S traffickers that have suddenly popped up out of nowhere. No, they've been here. They've been doing this. These people are all agents of chaos. They're all evil. These people who are taking your loved ones after they get deceased, and then when you go to the autopsy, you want an autopsy done, you find out that there is no body, and you never find the body. Why? Because they took the body and they took the organs. You got to understand what evil world that you're living in. And you got to keep your head on a swivel. And I'm with that mother. If my daughter was up front and my daughter was tucked in and as safe as she can be, and I can't do anything against a high-powered rifle, I'm heading out the back too. I hope she lives. There's nothing I can do. If I show my face, I'm dead. He was shooting people on his way into the store, and he shot a white person. If he sees me, I know I'm dead. That woman ran, and she should have ran. And I would have done the same. What I'm going to do, hey, man, don't bang. That's it. One in the chest, I'm out of here. And what good am I now to anybody? None. And for the record, her daughter lived because she hid and she covered her mouth. I'm just saying, this is all done by agents of chaos. This is not an accident. And and listen, I believe the police know that these things are going to happen. And you're probably going, how would they know this is going to happen? Why? Because the police have been doing the same thing. $68 billion have been taken from the people. $68 billion have been taken from the people in illegal legal forfeitures by the police. They pull you over on the highway. They, ask you a bunch of questions. And when they start asking you if you have any money, any large sums of money on you, and you throw up, and you say, this is just a cop, this cop is for me. Let me be innocent and just say, yeah, I have a business, I'm traveling, with $10,000. I'm taking it to my business, which is not illegal. And the cop goes, well, can we see where it's at? And you go, yeah, because if you say no, then you're suspicious. Then they put you in handcuffs. They call in a sniffing dog, and then they get into your car anyway and search your car. If you go, no, I don't want to answer any of these questions, they go, listen, we're just asking you questions. No, they're not. They're probing you for money. They're trying to figure out if you have money on you. And if you go, Fifth Amendment, I'm not going to say anything to you. I'm a lawyer up. Why are you lawyering up? You're suspicious. Put you in handcuffs, throw you in jail, take your car if they're going to search your car anyway. $68 billion. The mom and pop families who have their little, hair store or, grocery store or whatever, they're taking money right out of their bank accounts. Right out of their bank accounts. And they're going, why did you take $50,000 for us? Because of the way you were depositing money. Hey, what are you talking about? His money's transferred through this account every day. Well, it looks suspicious to us. Listen, it's not free to live in America. And this kid will supposedly go to jail for the rest of his life. But you know what this kid is going to get that a lot of people don't get? Due process. He's going to get a chance to say his piece. He's going to get a chance to sit in jail and draw and talk and eat and live off of us after he slaughtered 10 people in broad daylight and abused the right to carry. I can't walk around with an AR-15. They just shot a grandmother who had dementia because she was holding a knife. And the cop said, put down the effing knife, and the woman would not put down her knives. Then she put down one knife, was still holding the other one. He popped her anyway. She didn't walk towards him. She stood there. She's 75 years old with dementia. You could have easily pulled out your taser. Bam, she would have hit the ground. That woman would have hit the ground so fast with that taser. Boom, knife over with. You killed her. Cursing at her. Put down the effing knife. Put down the effing knife. Like the situation is so critical. This woman ain't walking towards you whatsoever. You have a taser on your hip. You draw your firearm and blow this 75-year-old woman away. This just happened a couple days ago. You can't tell me that ain't chaos. That's chaos. 100%. I seen a situation where a woman, she was like in her 30s. And she came out a cop with a big butcher knife. She came out of cop, that cop hit her with a taser, bam. She fell on a knife and it went into her. I didn't feel sorry for that woman. He warned her. I didn't feel sorry for her whatsoever, but she wanted to be crazy. And she came at him and he popped her with a taser. Bow! I was like, that's how you do it. That right there is how you police. I warned you, put it down, you came at me, bam. That lady is still alive today. 75-year-old woman, you shoot this woman. You shoot her dead. Right in the chest, she ain't come at you at all. Agent of chaos. These police gangs are out of control. And when they see something out of control that looks like them, they don't go, yeah, we're gonna take this guy and shoot him and make an example of him. No. They're making an example out of us. They're making an example out of the innocent. And we don't know who the good police are and who the bad police are. I say if you have to, run from the police. Because anytime they speak to you, they think it's unlawful for you not to speak to them. If they say, hey, how you doing? And you're going and you just ignore them, they get offended. If they say, come over here, you have to come over there or you're breaking some kind of law, which I don't even know what law that is. If you run away from them, If you're like, nope, if you walk away from them, they have the right to arrest you. And we're like, what? Like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. You're being suspicious. I don't want to talk to you. I've done nothing wrong. I've done absolutely, you can't tell me what I did wrong. Am I free to go? No, because we want to know who you are. We want to identify you. Why? Because you match some type of, blah, 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 and then turn around. They did this to a guy, turn around. They were actually looking for a white man. But the cop pulled up. He saw a black man, got out the car, and arrested this dude. Because this dude was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And arrested him. And when the dispatcher repeated the description, he said, I was looking for a white male. Well, why did you arrest this black guy? Just recently, a police chief's wife got bumped into by a black guy in a grocery store. It happens all the time. This woman gonna go and tell her police chief husband who in the car, this man groped her. This black guy groped me. Police chief jumps out the car with his gun, grabs the guy, and arrests him. And his woman. And they got videos, and then people are telling them, this guy didn't grope her. It's all on video. There's a camera in the grocery store, all over the place. He just simply bumped into her. He didn't grope her. Don't you know that man is in jail right now for sexual assault? These are all agents of chaos. It makes it so bad. The police chief wasn't even his jurisdiction. He's like, I'm the police chief, not here. You're not even in the right county. And they arrested these guys. I'm telling you, this is all it's all being played out. Hell, one of you people who are better at math than I am can probably tell me when, not only can you tell me when the next mass shooting is, you can probably dial it down to who it might be. It's just a matter of numbers. If this has happened more than once, if this happened more than 3 times, then you can start predicting when the next one's going to happen. You can throw out some type of prediction. That's the way trends are. I'm not good at statistics, even though I passed college statistics. It was very hard for me because of outliers and stuff like that. But I understood the concept. If something is happening and it's affecting a group of people, and it's because of a group of people, you can pretty much figure out when that event is going to happen to a group of people by the same people who caused the event. You can figure it out. There's just a batch of numbers you can put together, and I'm telling you right now, let's just take a guess at it. Let's just take a guess at it. When did Dylan Roof? I don't know when Dylan Roof shot that guy. Shot those people. But if you start looking at that and then go back to the mass shooting, go all the way back to the mass shooting in Denver. Just go all the way back to those, to the trench coat mafia. And then work your way up and look at every mass shooting that's happened. Go to the one guy a couple of years ago. He was an incel. This guy had money. He was a good-looking guy, but he was upset because women didn't want him. And he was sitting in his BMW. He had everything. Women didn't want him. Some girl turned him down. Mass shooting. Just start looking at the numbers, and I'm telling you, you're going to be able to predict when the next mass shooting is going to happen. And not only will you be able to predict it, you'll be able to predict when it's going to happen, probably to the day, and where it's going to happen. You'll be like The Simpsons. Yeah, because it's like a virus. A virus needs so many elements in order for it to thrive. And it's the same thing. It acts just like a virus. If a virus has a certain temperature, if it has something to feed on, and you know the deal. It's just like a virus. If it can, it will. And that's what's going on. That's what these mass shootings are. They're just viruses. And you treat it like a virus, you're going to be able to predict when it's going to happen. And it's going to happen again. We're going to be in the same situation. We're going to be looking at innocent men, women, and children who have nothing to do with nothing, just going on about their day. They're going to get gunned down. And we're going to say the same thing. The same thing is going to happen all over again. We're going to be angry, but we're not going to do anything because we think we can't do anything. That person's going to get friendly arrested. They're going to get friendly arrested. They're going to get treated with kid gloves. They're going to go to court. They're going to be, they're not going to get stalked at. They're not, and when they go to jail, you're not going to hear about these guys getting beat up. You're not going to hear about that. You're going to hear about how good they're being treated. Until somebody who's outside of these radicals and was affected by what they've done and doesn't agree with their ideology until one of them gets to one of them and then does them in. And that's what happened to Jeffrey Dahmer. What happened to him? Somebody who wasn't white, who doesn't believe that, oh, we forgive you, and was just all out pissed by what you did. And this is what happens. White people do something, or the police do something. They go to court. Then they ask the victim, the black victim, if you forgive. Do you forgive this officer for shooting, your husband to death right in front of you? Do you forgive? And they're supposed to be like, we forgive. No, I don't forgive you. Burn in the devil's hell. Burn in the devil's hell. If you're a good cop, thank you. If you're a bad cop, burn in the devil's hell. If you're a good white person, thank you. If you're a terrorist, burn. Burn. I have no love for you. None. Or any other race that's out there terrorizing. Well, I'm going to tell you something. When you look at the country on a whole, right, and you're thinking, this is a first world country, right? We are Minas Tirith. And for those of you who are nerds, you get the reference. We are the shining example, the epitome of what society is supposed to be. We have elected presidents every 4 years, supposedly. But now we're finding out that we don't have elected presidents every 4 years. We're finding out that a lot of these presidents are related. We're also finding out that the Electoral College is the one who is actually selecting the president. And we're going, wait a minute, George Bush lost his first and second run, but he was president twice. We're going, wait a minute. Let me get an understanding of what happened here. The Electoral College chose George Bush. George Bush's limousine got egged when he was, his inauguration. He got egged. Egged. Because people did not want him to be president. And for a damn good reason. Donald Trump became president, but Hillary Clinton beat him by 3 million votes. 3 million popular votes. Slaughtered Donald Trump. 3 million. He was still the president. Wait, what? George Bush got slaughtered in the election. He was still the president. How? Because the Electoral College is a small group of people who are controlling this nation. And those people are being controlled by somebody. And us voting has nothing to do with the control of this nation. We have nothing to do with it. We are the ones being controlled. And that's it. And that's all. So where this country is heading is, when you step back and you start looking at the Roman Empire, and then you look at the empire of, the United States, England, France, and these superpowers. When you start looking at them, you step back and you're going, it's the same damn thing. Listen, the Roman Empire didn't become the Roman Empire on its own. It became the Roman Empire because it went and started taking in other nations and other people, and it would beat them at war, and then it would induct them into service, and they would become citizens, Roman citizens. They would serve under the Roman army, and then that army would go and would just get bigger and bigger, and the empire would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how they did it. America did the same thing. We're still living under the rule of the Roman Empire. We use Roman numerals, we have a Senate, we have an election. It's the same thing. So the state of the U.S. is always has been this way. When has America been safe for Black people? Last year, 5 Black men were hung. 5. And those are the ones we know about. Before that, when Sandra Bland was hung, there were 5 women who were hung. You just don't hear about them. One was put in jail for cell phones. Sandra Bland was put in jail for a turn signal, and she was hung. They're still hanging Black people. When has America been safe for us? When? That's why I wasn't on the bandwagon when Kamala Harris got, elected vice president. That did nothing for me. She doesn't even claim to be a Black woman. She claims to be an Indian. And then where is she? But where does this hatred come from towards Blacks? Like, seriously, it has to be, you must have a lot of time on your hands for me to go into that. Seriously, it has to be an evil spirit. I never understood why you think race is inferior to you because of their skin color. Tell me how Black people are inferior to white people. If anybody is white on here right now, explain that to me. In what area are white people totally superior to Black people? What area? Don't say mathematics, don't say science, because you're going to get burned. You're going to sit up here and get burned. Don't say creative either, because George Washington Carver is all I have to say about that. A lot of your mathematics come out of African countries. Hell, your knowledge, a lot of your knowledge of the sciences came from, Africa, came out of Timbuktu. That's why you burned the libraries. Don't say speed or strength, because there's only a small subset of you who are actually the strongest people in the world, and they are usually Norwegians. That is not that is a small culture of white people who seem to dominate in that area. But when it comes to speed, I mean, we don't even need to go there, because for the last 40 years, there's been a Black man at the top of the podium in the Olympics when it comes to the 100. Or, I mean, you can even stretch that all the way out to, to the marathon. I mean, we just had a guy run under 2 hours in the marathon. It ain't no white person doing that. How is it? I mean, where are white people more superior than blacks? They're not. They're not more superior than us. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Everyone. And that's just that. There are some areas where you dominate, there are some areas where you don't. And those are just the facts. But you can't tell me where white people on a whole. You can't say the English dominate in this. No. You can't say they're better at this. And you can almost say, okay, well they're better at warfare. That's not necessarily true either. Because when you fought against when the French fought against the Haitians, as a matter of fact, the Haitians are the ones who helped them out. The Haitians were over there kicking ass and they freed themselves until the French hey, what's going on? Until the French said, okay, you freed all the slaves because slaves is economic. Slaves was all about economics. Hatred too, but a lot of it is about economics. So when the Haitians freed their slaves, the French lost a lot of money from that. What did the French do? The French came to Haiti with warships, and they said, "We're going to blow up this whole country if you don't pay us back what you owe us." And this is why Haiti is one of the poorest countries right now. They're poor because they owe the French and English. Where are white people more superior? They're good at killing. They're good at blowing things up. We'll give you that. Black people don't want to blow up the world that they live on. We don't create H bombs. Black people don't create H bombs. But you know how a lot of those bombs are created? With mathematicians. You mean to tell me every mathematician who worked on, going to space was a white man? Not even true. We already know those three black women helped, help NASA get to space. They're all mathematicians. You're not superior to us. You're just you just have a love of war that no other nationality has. Because they don't want to blow up the only planet that we can live on. Peace to you too, Star. I do have a lot of time. I'm chilling. Man, love your content. Well, I appreciate you too. I appreciate you guys. But I just want to get on here and vent, say my say about this guy and to tell you people, to be as safe as you can. And like I said, there's just no doubt in my mind that this is going to happen again. And I mean, like I said, I'm not a mathematician, but when you you just start putting two and two together, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. I'm going to look up. I just want to look something up here. How's your day going, Star? You all right? What'd you cook this morning? Star be cooking. All right. I'm going to look something up here. Star be cooking. I'm looking up the list of mass shootings. What's for breakfast? I haven't done a what's for breakfast video in a long time. Okay, so You know why I stopped doing it? I wasn't making any money. When I lose money, I stop focusing on things that don't make me money. You know, because I'm like concentrating on I need to make some money. Okay, so I'm looking at most notable mass shootings in the United States, continuous. Uh, most of them are on the East Coast. Most of them are on the East Coast, heading north, actually. But I'm looking at a list of them from 1920 all the way up to, you know, 2 days ago. So there's been one, and I'm just going to count the years off: 1920, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Let me see, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's been one every year, according to this. Every year. Now, let's just go back to 10 years ago, 12. We'll just take 2012, right? Man set fire to his home, car before opening fire or responding. Firefighters, 2 were killed. 3 were wounded before he committed suicide. Right, this guy set fire to his home and shot 2 firefighters. Okay, 20-year-old killed his mother before shooting in. Yeah, Ray, it was all planned. It's planned by our government. Tone, did you hear about the 9-year-old white boy who went to the black? Yeah. House in Dallas beating. Yeah, I heard about that kid. Saw the video, and then not only did he beat on the door, he went and he used the whip. And for one, he wasn't by himself. That kid did not do that by himself. Then he went and was hitting her car, and he damaged her car. So the parents went to his house and wanted the father to come out and talk about the damage that was done to his car, and to tell the kid to stop beating on, to stop coming to our house. So the boy is 9 years old, right? Now, the father doesn't want to come out, but then the father does come out, and when he comes out armed. So the guy was like, wait a minute, you come out here with a gun. We wanted to just talk to you, and I wanted to show you the video of your son beating on our door and damage he caused to our car. And the wife is in the street or on the curb filming it. She's standing back. She's letting the husband handle it. Ladies, take note. She's letting the husband handle it. She's not over there running her mouth and causing a ruckus. So the husband is talking to, the father of this kid, talking to a man, but the father is combative. And so the guy shows him a video and he says, I see my kid beating on your door, but I don't see, but I don't see where he's hitting your car. And the father's yelling the whole time. And then the black dad, gets upset, of course, and he was like, I came to you as a man, yada yada, you drew a gun. And then the dad said the reason why my son is over there doing that is because your son was bullying him. And the father said, and the black guy said, my son is 13 years old. He doesn't even go to your son's school. See, the father could have the father of the 9-year-old boy could have quelled this whole situation. He could have been like, I'm sorry, I'm a get on my kid, it'll never happen again. No, he made every excuse for that little boy because the dad's a racist. The dad is a racist prick, And and they don't like these people because they moved into a nice neighborhood and they want to harass these people. So they're like, yeah, we're going to let our son come over there and harass you. This is what we want to do. And listen, you're going to knock on somebody's door and you're going to get met with the same aggression that that Chinese guy did to that little 8-year-old boy. That little 8-year-old black boy, what did he do? He shot him. You're going to come to somebody's door with the whip with racial aggression, and they're going to be like, nope, bang. And what are you going to do when your little 9-year-old boy is 6 feet under after you've been warned? And a black father said, see what happens when your son comes back over here. What do you think is going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. These people don't believe birds fly. They don't believe birds fly south for the winter. They don't. They think they're superior, and they think nothing's going to happen to them. And what's going to happen is that little boy is going to walk back over there, and he's going to beat on that door, and there's going to be one or two things that's going to happen. He's going to get his damn head blown off, or that 13-year-old boy is going to come outside, and he's going to beat the draws off of that little boy. Because they have a right to protect themselves against any aggression. This is America. You come to our doorstep with it, that 9-year-old boy is going to get his face blasted off. And that's what I would do. I would tell my little boy, go outside and run that little boy off our property. And that's going to be that. And if the father wants to come over with it, he's going to be met with, because we know he carries. See, the father took it to another level. If he wanted to go mano a mano, he could have just came out and threw hands. But no, the father went and brandished the weapon. So what do you think is going to happen if the father comes back over to this guy's porch? He's going to be met with a click, click. And it's going to be Glock 40 against 9mm. What do you want to do? It's going to be a Smith & Wesson. What do you want to do? And he's going to pop on him. He's going to be like, I'm not here to negotiate with you. What do you want to do? And the minute he draws, that's going to be his ass. And everybody's going to be like, oh, the black guy wasn't. No, the black guy is protecting his wife and his kid and his property. And he's supposed to. And it's just going to, listen, if you don't get your hardhead kids together, somebody else will. They hate when our people have better things than they do. They live in the same neighborhood. Like, we can't have nothing nice. Now, you know what the real kick in the ass is? There are more black millionaires now than there's ever been. See, you would think with all the people who are losing their jobs and all this other stuff that's going on that, no, black people have always been innovators and creators. All you did was told black people, go out there and get it on your own. So we went and we studied what you did. We studied law. We studied all type of different. There is even a degree called entrepreneurship. I know when I walked and got my degree, there was a lady who got a degree in entrepreneurship, and I was like giggling at her, like, what's she gonna? Now I'm like, you know what, lady, you knew something I didn't. Because I'm getting my degree to go work for somebody else. She's getting her degree to go work for herself. She was more forward thinking than I was. I'm not giggling at that lady now because she's probably making a lot more money than I am. Why? Because she learned how to take different trends, how to take, different financial backings and get grants. She knows how to get free money. I don't know that. She's a black woman too. She knows how to get free money. She knows how the bank system works and its in and outs. I don't know like she knows. She knows all of these things. She's not sitting anywhere broke. She's got a degree in entrepreneurship. There are more black entrepreneurs now than there's ever been. And they're making millions of dollars. I mean, I'm watching, Instagram and whatnot, and watching these kids give away $10,000. Kids, 20 years old, give away $10,000. Go look and see how much these Instagrammers are making. Go look at Drewski and see how much he's worth. These guys are worth millions of dollars. I believe this mass shooting was blood sacrifice done for Blood Moon tonight. I don't know anything about the Blood Moon, so I can't speak on it. But I can tell you that it's planned and it'll happen again. It will happen again. I bet their car was better than what I bet it was too. They drive. Listen, black people are always going to drive nice cars if we can afford it. They drive the 9-year old. Heard his dad talking about what those people have. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You mad? They're mad because we did. Yeah, you mad? And I don't get why you would be mad. You live in the same area. You guys live three doors down. That was a good group. You live 3 doors down from each other or whatever. Why are you mad because somebody has the same success you do? If you're driving an old Ford, well, hell. And this guy is driving a brand new, Lincoln Navy, stinking Lincoln. Don't be mad at this guy because he pulled up with a 2023. You know what I'm saying? Playing that Al Jarreau. Don't be mad at him. This brother's doing it right. He can afford that $850 payment. Plus the house, plus to get that's what they wanted. That's what they can afford. If you can't afford it, don't get mad because your wife is stressing you out for the cash. You ain't got no money because of her. You ain't got no money because you remodeled your house twice unnecessarily. They do stuff like that. They go, the wife would go, you know what, honey, we bought $5,000 worth of kitchen, and I'm just feeling like this new Whirlpool refrigerator, it doesn't speak to me anymore. It doesn't. Can we? And I know that they do this because I sell refrigerators, and I'm not about to go on a refrigerator tangent. But that's where I was getting my refrigerators from. People who were remodeling. And I just want to speak on this one example. The best refrigerator sale I ever got. These guys had a 4-door refrigerator. Stainless steel. Bring it to me. They wanted, whatever for it. 150, $200 for it. I gave them the $200. I was like, what's wrong with it? They said nothing. I opened that thing up. It was still cooling. Ice was still in it. I was like, wait a minute. They said they just wanted a new refrigerator. The wife wanted a new refrigerator. Boom, bam, boom, right? Boom, right? Beautiful. Beautiful refrigerator. Not a dent on it, not a scratch. I looked in to see what year it was. It was 2019. This thing was only 1 year old. I was like, oh, yeah. I sold that joker for over $1,000. That thing sold in a day. See, this is what they do. They stress themselves out trying to keep up with people. If Lisa has a new kitchen, Barbara wants one too. That's not how we get down. We get a new kitchen, we wait until stuff starts falling off, and then we're just like, it's time for a new kitchen. Or we'll go and fix it ourselves. Because if you go and look up what a 4-door fridge cost down at Home Depot or one of them, how much one of them jokers cost, you're looking at $3,200 just for the refrigerator. That's not for delivery or install. We don't do that. We don't go, oh, there's a little dent and we want it. No, we don't do that. I saw the black family and their children. You can tell that they were beautiful people. You can tell that the father was like a real upstanding dude because of the way he came over and he approached them. He didn't approach them with a weapon. He didn't approach them with malice. He simply wanted to talk it out. That's what neighbors do. Let's talk this out. But when you come outside with a gun, oh, that whole thing changed. So when I'm looking at the mass shootings, I'm looking at 2012, 2000, okay, February 2012, April 2012, May 2012, July 2012, August 2012, August 2012, August 2012, September 2012, October 2012, December 2012, December 2000. I'm telling you, this is planned. What that kid did was a plan. He didn't do it on his own. Somebody else was helping him orchestrate this. It's orchestrated. This is orchestrated chaos. He belongs to some group. I don't know what group. That kid belongs to a group somewhere. And it's not that this kid was taught hatred. This kid is taught that he can do what he wants. I just came to the live. What makes you think it's the government? Because I'm gonna try to answer your question, Jay. But you might have to go and listen to some of what I already went over because I've been on for an hour and 20 minutes, and I can't repeat all of what I said for the other listeners. I believe that the government is in on it for just a few reasons. One, we're looking at just mass shootings in themselves. There's a list of mass shootings just in 2012. It's a list of where they happened. This is a list of what happened and who they shot. This includes Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook, 2012, December. So let's just take Sandy Hook, Jay. Let's just dip into Sandy Hook, right? Sandy Hook happened in 2012. Those kids were how old? What grade were they in? It was done now. Okay, so hold on. It was done by a 20-year-old, right? A 20-year-old who killed his mother, right? Killed his mother before shooting and killing 20 children and 6 adults in Sandy Hook. If you search the internet now for the children who were killed at Sandy Hook, you're going to find out that there are adults with their same names. They're saying that there were not 20 children killed. They're saying that something's wrong with this mass shooting because the people who are supposed to be dead are alive. Going back to 9/11. If you go back to 9/11 and what happened at 9/11, let's go back to the plane crash in Pennsylvania. When you go to the plane crash in Pennsylvania, it was a plane crash, right? The plane was supposed to have descended so fast that it went into the ground. Into the ground. Boom, straight down into the ground. And when it did this, the investigators uh, showed up. They said, we showed up expecting to look at a plane crash, except there was no airplane. And it didn't take long before somebody noticed that there was the same plane, same serial number, same number in an airport. What happened to the plane in Pennsylvania? When has there ever been a plane that crashed on land and there was no plane? There was no bodies. When? You help me out because I don't know, and neither did the investigators. These are people who have been on the job for many years, seen many a plane crash. They said, we never seen anything like this. There was literally no airplane. So we either have a massive hoax or we have an anomaly that just can't be explained by any science whatsoever. So when we start looking at, no, these are not conspiracies. This is not a conspiracy. You can look at the footage of the airplane crash and you will find no airplane. This is my eyes and your eyes. You can look up the documentation that the investigator spoke about. You can just look that up. You don't need me to do that. As far as Sandy Hook is concerned, I didn't make this up. I didn't yeah, Crisis Act. I didn't draw up some elaborate plan and said, "Oh, I think this is what's a." I'm not Mel Gibson, in that movie making up stuff. This is not. That's not me. I'm not somebody who's fanning the flames of hyperbole. This is not what I do. I simply look at what is and go, "This is what they said." Well, Alex Jones is a little different, but I'm going to tell you something. Alex Jones also predicted that we were going to go to war in Ukraine. I'm not a fan of Alex Jones, but how did Alex Jones, 5 years before it happened, say we were going to go to war in Ukraine? And he was correct. He knew when we were going to go to war and where we were going to go to war. How's that possible? You break that down to me because I want to know. He knew we were going to go to war and he knew when we were going to go to war. And why Ukraine? Why? Why Ukraine? Alex Jones knew this. He's on video talking about it way before it ever happened. Okay, but anyone can have a prediction. Listen, I'm not here to try to convince you of something. None of you, pay me to talk to you. I don't make a dime talking to any of you guys. Not one. I don't. I don't make any money talking to you guys. Okay? Most people aren't even going to watch this because it's too long. They don't want to hear some 50-year-old rambling about whatever. There's no benefit to me to try to convince you of something. I get nothing out of that. All I'm saying is, with all of these mass shootings just in the year 2012, and you start working your way up each year, and you really start dissecting these things, I'm saying there is a statistic to it that cannot be ignored. It's a simple numbers game. That's all that's to it. There's a rhyme and reason to why these events are happening. And eventually, if you put the numbers together, you can predict when the next one happens. Shanae, you better tell Jay something because don't tell me the Pentagon crash. The Pentagon crash couldn't even be explained. It couldn't, from what they said. How did Rumsfeld know to get out of there? And why didn't he tell anybody else? Rumsfeld knew that there was going to be an incident. And if it was an airplane, then why wasn't it shaped like an airplane? Why wasn't the explosion shaped like a 747? It wasn't an airplane. You can just look at the footage. Then look at the reports of the people who weren't in on it. The FAA does reports. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. The FAA is one of the only government groups that I actually listen to and pay attention to. When the FAA says something, I have a tendency to believe it more than anybody else. Why? Because the FAA has one camera filming the whole event of the fortress. Right. The FAA has been telling us there have been UFOs for the longest time, and the government has been covering it up. The FAA has been giving us black box report. When an airplane goes down, they'll tell us what the last person said. They'll say what happened with the airplane. If a pilot is flying over, some land, and they'll say we just saw something we can't explain, that all of a sudden comes out. The FAA doesn't hold that from us. Now I'm sure they're holding something from us, but they like to give the people information, and I enjoy that. So when they say we sent people to investigate, which is what they do, they investigate plane crashes, and there is not a plane here. There's no plane here. There's not an airplane. There are no bodies. You cannot tell me a plane crash that happened on land and there's no bodies. This is what the FAA said. Isn't that what I said? I didn't look at it and go, well, there's no bodies. They tried to say that the bodies disintegrated because the fall was so expedient. Get the hell out of here. Never in the history of airplanes crashing has there ever been an airplane crash where no bodies were found whatsoever and they suddenly disintegrated without there being a massive fire. And even still, that fire usually doesn't disintegrate bones. I don't, you know what? I don't have a problem with sounding unhinged after 10 innocent people lost their life. I sound unhinged? Good. I should be. You should be too. You should be ungoddamn hinged right now. Right. You should be unhinged. 10 innocent people just lost their lives because of some nutcase went and shot a bunch of people. You should be thinking like me. You should be thinking, why does this keep happening? Right. Right. Building number 7. And then the way they reported how building number 7 fell. Because the superstructure was damaged from the other buildings falling. Never in the history has this ever happened before. You know why it fell? Because of the insurance policy that was taken out on the building. That's why it fell. They blew it up. Yes, there are evil people out there, and that's what I'm saying. We're all agreeing on that. Yeah, there are evil people out there. But here's the thing. There are evil people out there, and the innocent people are being caught up in their evil schemes. You can't convince me that this is not planned. If we can go over to Ukraine and keep feeding Ukraine millions and millions of dollars. Okay. Let me. Okay, listen, Jay. Listen, Jay. Listen. We just went to a pandemic, right? And so many lies were fed to us. I mean, can you tell me how many shots you got? How many shots did you get? Because it started off as one shot, and then you had to have a shot every 5 seconds. Yeah, how many shots did you get during the pandemic? Listen, during the pandemic, how many shots did you get? Now tell me when's the last time you got a shot? When is the last time they promoted a shot? You got 0 shots. Okay, so when is the last time they promoted a shot? When the last time they came out, Dr. Fauci came out and said, hey, you guys need another shot? How many shots were said to be mandatory? where all those people lost their jobs. Military people thrown out, nurses lost their job, all those people lost their jobs. Now what? Tell me, because they wouldn't take the shots, how many shots were mandatory during the pandemic? How many? And tell me how many are mandatory now. That, that don't seem suspicious, in the words of Dr. Umar Johnson. Oh, now it's don't listen to those people. But you have to understand, listen, my degree is in health administration. I can't help but to listen to those people because I like the numbers game of the healthcare. I can't fix a broken arm or anything like that, but I can tell you statistically the propensity of getting one. Okay? How many shots were mandatory and how many shots have been mandatory ever since the war in Ukraine busted out? Don't worry, I'll wait. All of a sudden, you don't need shots. What happened, Jay? I sound unhinged. Everything I'm saying is a conspiracy. Okay, explain to me what just happened. We are all ears. We want to hear your explanation of what in the hell just happened to the biggest pandemic in world history. You never got any shots. It doesn't matter. Why are they not lining people up and telling them they have to get shots? Why are all the schools suddenly open? Why is there all of a sudden a hiring rush to get all of these people crammed back into these buildings where they know that CV can be Omicron and all these other things that can get people sick and die? Why are they rushing all these people back to normalcy? Why? When is the last time you heard an announcement by Dr. Fauci? When? Come on, Jay, help us out. Since I'm the one who's unhinged, I'm the one who sounds crazy. Help us out. Because we want to know. We want to know. When's the last time you wore a mask? You got your mask still popping off? Come on, help us out. Help us out. I'm crazy, right? When's the last time you had your mask on? You walked into a Walmart, full mask, blue and white, jumped on a bus, mandatory. Can't go into Target without a mask. When's the last time you saw a mask mandate on anything? Restaurant, anything. Come on, Jay, help me out, because I want to know. I want to know. I'm the one who's unhinged, but I want to know your expert opinion on this. When did it all go away? When Russia announced that they were going to go into the Ukraine. That's when it all went away. And although you may hear about people dying every now and then, yeah, I want you to tell me why there's no more mask mandate. Something that was so crucial 6 months ago. I want you to tell me why people aren't lining up in these large lines to get a shot when this was so mandatory 6 months ago. Why? Because all our concentration is on war right now. And here's another thing. How much money did you get from the government when they said, oh, we're going to give you a stimulus check? Remember those? It wasn't too long ago. Everybody got one. What'd you get? A little $1,400? They gave you a little $1,200 once and $1,400. How much they give you, Jay? You got what we got, right? Not unless you got a wife and kids. Other than that, you got a little stimulus check just like we did. How much did it amount to? About $2,000, maybe somewhere around there. And the first stimulus check was denied us. It was denied us, right? What's his name? Went in there to Congress and says, no, I don't want to give a stimulus check, right? He's like, nope, no stimulus check. And we were all like, oh, hell no. So people went to his house and they start marking up his house, him and Pelosi. Quit messing around. The next time the vote for stimulus came out, boom, we all got a stimulus check. By the way, other countries were giving their people stimulus checks way before we got ours. Way before. And they gave them more money than we got. But this is the shining example in the epitome of what life should be and democracy. So yeah, remember the stimulus check? And they were saying, inflation and all this money that's going out the door. How much money did we just send to Ukraine in terms of weaponry? That's not the point. The point is, this is all planned. That's the point. This is all distractions. This is all watch LeBron James play basketball. Don't pay attention to the bottom line. This is all bullcrap. This is why I don't watch sports anymore. Because I'm looking at the bottom line. And I may sound crazy to somebody who's not looking at the bottom line. I'm looking at the what ifs. And if that makes me a conspiracy theorist, then fine. But everything I talk about, you can look at too. I don't go, what if? I don't base anything in hyperbole. I don't try to, skepticize, blah, 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 blah. I don't even tell you what's going to happen next. That's usually what a conspiracy theorist does. They tell you what's going to happen next. When it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. All I can tell you is if you start putting numbers together, anyone who starts putting numbers together can probably make a damn good hypothesis on when the next mass shooting is going to happen. That's what I'm telling you. And if that sounds unhinged, then fine. But I don't want to be around when the next one happens, especially if they're targeting black people. Because if you haven't noticed, I am very, very black. Very much so. Omicron. How many of you are afraid of Omicron? How many of you are afraid of the strand Omicron? I'm not saying that it's not out there, but I'm saying that we are... Don't get blocked. That sounds crazy. But how many are afraid of Omicron? Isn't that the new strand out now? Huh? Omicron? No, you're not thinking about that. You know why you're not thinking about that? Because you're thinking about, the people who died in Mariupol. What the hell is a Mariupol? How many of you knew about Mariupol before Putin invaded Ukraine? How many of you even knew about the Ukraine? I didn't even know black people were in Ukraine. I didn't pay no mind to the Ukraine. All of a sudden, I know Mariupol, I know Kiev, I know Kyiv. Hell, I probably know somebody who lives there by now. I know the whole goddamn countryside now. I know all of this in some distant land where all this war is happening has nothing to do with me. But I know my government gave me, when I needed money, our government said, no, you're not going to get any money. And then said, we're only going to give you $2,000 after they stripped you of everything. They took your jobs and you couldn't even go to work. And they said, no, we're not going to give you any money. A bunch of people went homeless. People lost their lives, and our government didn't step in and do anything until they were pretty much forced to do it. And when they did, they gave you $2,000. but Kharkiv and Kiev and Mariupol. $300 million worth of equipment just went over there. And this is the second time. 300 million. But I can only get $2,000. And, people are being thrown out of their house because they can't make rent, because they can't work, because you told them not to go to work. Then you told them if they didn't get this shot, that they can't go to work. So people who've had jobs for 28 years and about to retire, who don't believe in getting the shot, don't get the shot, and you tell them that they're fired. Our military people, you fired them. This is all planned. You don't have to believe me. But I'm telling you, once you wake up and start looking at some numbers, you're going to be like, you know what? Stay away from this part of the country. Don't go into this store at this time. Somebody's going to show up. It doesn't matter, Jay. It doesn't. You think Democrats and Republicans are against each other? Is that what you think? How many parties in Congress are there? How many of them? You think it's just Democrats and Republicans? The Green Party? Yeah, Shane, you're not even talking about it. You're talking about something that's happening in a land you never even knew about. It's a thing of the past. That's my whole point. You're talking about a country that you didn't even know existed. You're talking about democracy in a country that you didn't even know existed. You have no ties with that country whatsoever. And listen, the more people that die over there, the better it is for these warmongers to make more war. They could have evacuated those people right up out of there. You mean to tell me the UN, who I think Poland is part of the UN, couldn't have sent mass amount of buses, cars, whatever, and emptied that country out in a day? You do the same thing. It's pre-programmed. That's what I'm trying to tell Jay, but Jay doesn't have to listen to me. I'm not here to convince him. I'm here to talk to the people who already know. And my question is, what are we going to do? See, we need to know when to fight and when to hide. That's what this mission is. This mission is not to try to convince people to get on the ark. We're not here to try to convince you to get on the ark. We know a storm's coming. Yeah, we know a storm's coming. We know it. We know it's coming. Shooter was not a random nutcase. No way. Not even close. You know what a nutcase is? A nutcase is somebody who walks out in the middle of traffic and gets hit. They just walk right in the middle of traffic. They don't think that anything is going to happen to them because they're not fully cognizant. And then they get hit by a semi. That's a nutcase. A nutcase is not somebody who dresses in tactical gear, has a weapon that is the same color as their tactical gear, and arms that weapon correctly, then takes a video and live streams the video. That's not nutcase to me. That is somebody who is planning. That is somebody who is a deviant. That's not nuts to me. That's not crazy to me. That is somebody who is 100% completely sane. Listen, this kid is going to get a mental evaluation. 10 to 1 says they're not going to say this kid was crazy. If you start looking into this kid's past, you're not going to see where this kid was crazy. You're not going to hear a psychiatrist, in some psychiatric report saying this kid had mental issues. You know how, when white women go and screw a bunch of teenage boys, that they're supposed to be teaching, they come out and say, hey, she had, issues when she was, when she was 13 and somebody whistled at her and, all of a sudden she became, some kind of issue with her. So this allows her to go ahead and molest these kids as a teacher. That's not what you're going to get. This kid is sane. He's 100% sane. He's not a nutcase. He had an agenda. Oh, I highly doubt that. Anyone who commits mass murder is nuts. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's go there. Let's use your analogy. I watched a segment on World Star where they were talking about America and what America does. The Obama administration, was looking for terrorists in different countries, as they do, and they found one. They found this terrorist. This guy was in a populated area, and the Obama administration gave to go to kill this guy. So when they killed this guy, they dropped the bomb on him, and they killed him. But they also killed 22 other people. And you know who they were? All women and children. Is that mass murder? And is Obama sane? You tell me. Is it mass murder and is Obama sane? You want other examples? Because we can go all the way back to, George Washington if you want. We can go all the way back to George Washington. Big old monuments of, and calling them heroes, and when they were mass murderers and sadistic. And you mean to tell me all of them were, nuts? I would say that this kid is just following the common trend. I would say that this kid did nothing out of the unordinary. It is normal what this kid did. You know who's abnormal? Us. Because we don't find any rhyme or reason to doing this. You're normal. You're not normal because you don't go out and slay innocent people, women and children. You're abnormal. You don't believe me? When is the American army not at war? Educate me. When's the American army not at war? When? In some country, somewhere. When has the American army not invaded some country and slaughtered thousands of people? Sometimes more. Let's just take the Middle East. Let's just take the Middle East and how they destabilized the Middle East on purpose. How many millions of people died in the Middle East? Let's take that. When George Bush sent our armies over there to the Middle East, thousands of us and millions of them died. Is George Bush sane? Or how about his father? Because I was in the army when his father sent my friends across the water. George Bush Sr., was he sane? No, he was a nutcase. All right, let's go with Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was the biggest drug dealer there was. How many people died during the Just Say No campaign? When he was doing Just Say No, him and his goofy wife. Just say no. He's the biggest drug dealer there was. How many people died during the crack epidemic? Okay, no, you don't want to. You don't want to go with him. Okay, let's go with George Clinton or Bill Clinton. I mean, not George Clinton. George Clinton's a good guy. Let's go with Bill Clinton. Him and his wife and Planned Parenthood and all those babies that were slaughtered. No, it's Hillary Clinton. She's nuts. Hillary Clinton's not nuts. She's not nuts. Bill Clinton's not nuts. Putting all those people in jail for a long time, letting all those people just die in jail and just rot in jail. 3 strikes are out. Bill's a good guy. No, those people aren't nuts. Those people are. I'm just wondering. Your definition is, I'm just trying to figure out who you're actually talking about, because I don't know. Because when I look at people who are nuts, I look at people who don't understand right from wrong. This kid armed himself, dressed, for one, got up, got some food, right? He was able to dress himself. Pretty cognizant, if you ask me, right? He had a driver's license, right? Okay, so he had to have some knowledge. He jumped in a car and was able to follow the rules of the highway because he drove 2 hours to a destination. And then what made him pick that destination? Oh, he was looking for colored people. I just don't know where the nuts parts comes in. What part was he not cognizant of what he was doing? See, this is called premeditated. And usually, listen, in the court system, Jay, in the court system, when somebody goes out and murders somebody else, it's looked at in several different ways. If somebody runs somebody over by accident, that's vehicular homicide. Now, are so many years you can get for vehicular homicide, and it all depends on who you are, because there was a judge who hit a black woman, and that black woman died. That judge did not go to jail, but he killed that black woman. There have been even a case where a white woman decided that she wasn't having a good day, and she rammed into the back of a car that killed 4 white men. She did not do a day in jail because she was having a hard problem with her. Her modeling career wasn't going good, so she was having mental issues. So she got away with murder on vehicular homicide. And then, and then when you want to step that up, there's the people who actually go out and they're going about their day, and then they get into a tiff, like those 3 men that were protecting themselves from that other guy who tried to get $100 out of them. That just happened a couple months ago in the gym. And the guy was kicking him out the gym. The big guy was kicking him out the gym because they wouldn't give him, they wouldn't give him the $100. So he pushed one of them, and when he pushed one of them, all 3 men assailed this guy, punched him in the face, dropped him, kicked him. That guy died right there on the spot. That right there is murder. All 3 of those guys are in murder. But that is not murder 1, because they didn't kill him on purpose. Those guys will get out of jail. They'll do 10 to 15. They will get out of jail because they didn't do it on purpose. Then you have murder 1, Jay. Premeditated murder is the worst. This is where you get 25 to life. This is where you get 20. This is where you get 25 to life. And also, you can, depends on what state you are, because now they're allowing people to go through with the death penalty again. This is why they just gave 2 people the death penalty, and they both got injected. This is where you get 25 to life. You get Jodi Arias, life without parole. Or you get Aileen Wuornos, and you get killed by the state. This kid committed premeditated murder. He knew what he was doing. He was fully aware of the consequences, but he did it anyway. This is not what I would call nuts. This was pre planned, and this was not planned by himself. This kid did not sit in the basement, playing with himself and thought, you know what? I want to go out and kill 10 black people. That's not what happened. This kid was encouraged by somebody else long before he hit his 18th year. And there's a good chance that he probably never had a bad encounter with a black person. There's a good chance no black girl ever turned him down. His black boys didn't jump him and beat him up. His dad didn't get beat up by a bunch of black guys. His mother didn't get, essayed by some black guy. They weren't called racial slurs. There's a good chance he came nowhere near any black people who done him any harm whatsoever. What happened to this guy is he looked online. He got into some group. He started chatting it up. And then he started, like he said, looking at manifestos. And he developed a hatred, ordered himself a deadly weapon, all within the law. Everything he did was in the conscripts of the law. Then he looked at examples of other people who did the same thing. Right. And he knew he was going to get treated with kid gloves. And they're going to keep throwing his age out there as if they want him to get younger. They want him to be 17. So they can try him as a child. Or they can have some excuse to give him less time. I say if he gets out of jail, one of the family members that he killed should go and kill him. That's what I say. But, I'm just a nobody. That's what I think. That's the way I feel. I'm not promoting it, but it's the way I feel. I feel that way. I feel that he doesn't deserve to live. Yeah, there's no way that this kid just had, a mad on for black people. And here's the thing. Like I said, this stuff is planned. How many other people have read that manifesto and are planning the same thing? Where is the manifesto? It's online. Why hasn't it been pulled? Why are these manifestos still in circulation? This kid didn't go to a library and get the manifesto. He got it off of the internet. Why is it still on the internet? Why is this type of hatred still peddled? Because people want this to happen. This is a plan. It's a whole plan. People want it to happen. And it does. And it doesn't surprise me. The only thing that we are constantly surprised by is the brutality the police show to innocent black people, but will not show to a terrorist. That dude is an American terrorist. That's what he is. And he's not a lone wolf, like the guy who went and shot up the Chinese people. He went to both those stores. What was that guy dressed like? That guy who, this year, that guy who was, what was he dressed like? He dressed in army fatigues. He had a weapon just like the one that this kid just used. And he went to Asian stores And he traveled to 3 different stores and he shot 8 people. The same damn MO. The same damn thing. The same color person. The same MO. These manifestos, yeah, it's all premeditated. It's all planned. He went after Asian people. And when he got caught, what happened to him? They treated him with kid gloves. He was what they call apprehended. Stop me when I'm wrong. Where's the lie? That guy shot and killed 8 people. They apprehended him. Johnny Gray, they dragged him, broke his back, and killed him. Eric Garner, they choked him to death over a cigarette. And those cops are walking free. Johnny Gamage, they broke his neck and beat him. Where's the lie? Where? Pleasance was shot in the head by a black cop, point blank range, with his hands up. No, he was holding the coat. His hands was down. That cop put the gun right to his head and blew him right, bang. Black cop just shot him right in the head. You know what happened to that black cop? They gave him a medal. They gave him a medal for shooting the innocent man. An unarmed innocent black man. They gave him a medal. It's all planned, people. You don't have to believe me, but I just hope you're not in the crossfire of the next mass shooting, because there will be one. There will be, listen, as long as these manifestos are there, there's going to be a mass shooting. They're going to aim at somebody who's not white. These are American terrorists. And they're on the police force. They're in the United States Army. They live right next door to you. And they hate your guts. They hate your damn guts. You guys stop me when I'm wrong. How many black people who are dating white people within this year, just this year, have been killed by that said white person and has not been arrested? How many? Right now I can count 1, 2, 3. I can count 3 incidents. One recently, the white woman, she killed the African guy, was not arrested. Well, she was arrested, then she said she was going to kill herself. Now she's out of jail walking around. A day later, she's out. The white guy, supposed to be the nice guy who killed that 24-year-old black girl, boom. He's a nice guy. He's not a suspect. That same situation happened again about a month later, except this girl's body was was bloodied up. And the one guy who should be the suspect, they let him go. I don't know, but I'm the crazy one. I'm the conspiracy theorist. Okay. All right. I'll be that. I'll be the nutcase. I'll be the old guy, the hermit, the glasses and the crazy hair, no wife and kids, just by myself, talking, spewing crazy facts, just pure asinine. But when somebody that gets hit by a bullet that is not a stray, when somebody comes out of nowhere and dust off one of your family members and 10 other people, You're going to come back to me and go, you know what? You were right. And I would hate to be right. But I know I am. Nobody does anything about it because it's the American way. This is what I'm saying. They're full of terrorists. After yesterday's shooting, the governor spoke, but never said anything about hate crime. But there is no what hate crime for black people. When's the last time somebody did a hate crime on black people and it was a hate crime? That was Dylan Roof, wasn't it? And then they didn't even want to say that was a hate crime. They wanted to blame the Dylan Roof incident on his background. They wanted to blame it on something else. They didn't even want to. And Dylan Roof was affiliated with a hate group. They didn't even want to say that. They wanted to say he was a lone wolf. They didn't even want to say it was a hate crime. Not only that, listen, there are laws for hate crimes. There are federal laws against just hate crimes, period. But those is what's not going to happen. But those federal laws are skewed when it comes to, particular colors. Look at the hate crime bill that was just passed for Asians. I ain't got no beef against Asians, but all of a sudden Asians have a privilege that black people don't have. When that white guy killed all those Asians, they immediately said it was a hate crime. When those black people were beating up those Asians down in Little China or whatever that was, they was like, okay, this is a hate crime. Then they went to the government, and the government was like, boom, do it again, you're going to federal prison. You're not going to jail for assault. You're going to jail for a federal crime. Federal. Which means there's no speedy trial. Which means they can hold you in a cell by yourself. My battery's going dead, so I'm going to go soon. They can hold you in a cell by yourself until they decide to take you to trial. That's what they can do. That's what a federal crime does for you. They can put you in a 6x5 and at your home, and they can leave you there for years. And not as long as they feed you and treat you with some type of human decency, they don't have to let you out. They don't have to let you out of there. They can throw you in there for years. As long as they feed you, 3 hots in a cot. That's it. They give you a little medicine. They do not have to let you out of there. Do you remember the Asian store owner shot the black girl and never went to jail? Yes, she shot a black girl. Said the black girl was robbing her. There's no way she'd have done that to my sister and me not do something about it. I would be in jail right now. Yeah, she lied on the girl, but it was all caught on video. There's no way that would have happened to my sister and I wouldn't have shown up. You think that place would still be standing? It would have been on site, broad daylight. On site, broad daylight. That lady would not be alive today. Not whatsoever. You're going to shoot my 15-year-old kid sister and blame her for something she did in the back of the head or whatever and you think you're going to walk around here and then they going I would have been like, you can't be serious. And then y'all just going to let it happen? You out of your damn mind. Yeah. Oh no, it would have been over. I would have burnt that place to the ground with her in it. Yeah, with her in it. I'd have burnt that place to the ground with her in it. And anybody who supported her, die, bastards, die. I don't have no love for you. I don't feel sorry for you. I'm not going to pray for you. Go to a devil's hell. I'm not praying for you. I have no love for you. You're a demon. Go to hell with the demons. You going to shoot a 15-year-old girl over some juice? You didn't even have the heart to throw hands with her if it was that serious. That weapon should only been used if the girl had a weapon, if she was a threat. You not afraid of a 15-year-old girl because you know that little girl whoop your ass. So you shot her because you can't defend yourself? She didn't come in there with an armed robbery. She didn't come in there and strong arm y'all with, holding a tray 8. She came in there with money in her hand to buy juice. And you killed her. Nah, you wouldn't be living. You're not going to live the rest of your life. Not in safety without thinking something's going to happen to you. Oh, no, you're going to get caught. Yeah, see, they should have been burnt that store down. I mean, if you keep pulling a gun on somebody, eventually you're going to shoot them. They should have ran them out of there a long time ago. Look, there's a store right around the corner from me. Now I don't have a problem with any nationality. So I'll go into an African store, I'll go into a white person store, I'll go into a Chinese store, I go into all of them because I like culture. Forgive me, I've been to a couple countries, I'm cultured. I'm just a cultured dude. Hold on, let me get my battery charger. Hold on a second, guys. Battery charger. Battery's going dead. Battery charger. I need my batteries. Battery's going dead. Yeah, so I'm a cultured guy, right? I believe in culture. Oh, hold on, baby. That's probably gonna die on me anyway, guys. Oh, I waited too long. It's getting dark. It's getting so dark. Give me some power. Yeah, it's gonna die on me anyway. But I'm a cultured man, so I like, kicking it with different cultures. But I'm gonna say this. I went into the Hispanic store. I made a video about it. I was talking to the lady at the register. It was like, it's a nice store. I'm gonna tell other black people to come here. And she was like, no. I said, what, you don't like black people? And she was like, no. That's the last time I went to that store. I pass by that store all the time. I do not go where I'm not wanted. If you pull a gun on me, or if you just even let me know you don't like me, I'm not coming to your store. You don't want my money? That's fine with me. I'm not going to walk back into that store thinking everything's all good. I know that that woman by herself is not a standalone complex. Yeah,